Welcome to this Getting Started guide for Fulcrum One software. In this video we are going to talk through line array optimization. We have a fan-shaped hall with a balcony that we're showing here, and we're going to add a line array loudspeaker to it by going to the Loudspeakers tab, clicking the plus icon and the array, and then we're going to choose an FL283T loudspeaker box. For this demonstration we're going to use 8 boxes. And then once I click the array, we can kind of see that it's been inserted at the origin itself. We're going to raise it to an appropriate location in front of the proscenium. And then we've defined some previous mapping areas. So we've gone to each one of these seating planes and turned on the mapping for these locations. Let's go over to the mapping tab and see what we get. As you can see, the line array is predictably focused on the balcony since we haven't splayed it. The individual center lines of each box are shown on these gray lines, so we can use that to kind of aim things manually if we'd like. The upper and lower coverage angles of the top and bottom boxes are shown with the red line for reference. We can manually splay things, so we can go into this properties box and add angles if we'd like, or we can use some of the automated tools to help us do this quickly. Let's use the aim bumper tool and click far up in the upper balcony seating, and that will sort of sit the center line of the top box of the array. Then we're going to use the Splay Last tool and click at maybe a front seat. The system is then going to detect all of the seating areas between the top and the bottom of the auditorium and then try to optimally splay the loudspeakers accordingly and calculate these angles for you. You can look at the frequency response of the system at different frequencies, just like any other box in the system. We can also go into the actual array tree and maybe solo up a box and see what the coverage angle of that specific box looks like in the room. Let's look at the bottom box, and we can see that we're covering the very front of the seating area. Another thing that can be helpful in designing a line array system, or any system itself, is to turn on other surfaces for mapping that may not be seats. Then we can start to see how much energy is being pushed onto those surfaces in our design process. We may also want to look at how much energy is on the stage. On the stage we're going to have standing performers, so we'll use the standing offset. In this room we've also added some probes which will give us the frequency response at different locations. We've added one here on stage, we've got some in the orchestra seating, one at a front of house location, and then at the lower and the upper balcony locations. And then we can see the frequency response of this system at each one of those locations comparatively. By selecting the array, we can hit the processing button in the properties dialog. That will allow us to add filters specifically over the entire array itself. So let's put in a 125 Hz filter, maybe 6 dB down, and see what that does. That may help us with some of the low frequency buildup. You can also go into each individual box and add processing if you wanted to simulate something like high frequency shading, as well as attach any one of these boxes or the overall array to a group.